welcome back, my students, to a brand new episode of Comic Class. And today's lesson, guys, we'll be going over the Judge Dredd storyline, Judge Death Lives. And yeah, this is part of my Judge Death storyline read-through. I believe we have one more storyline to talk about after this, before we get into the Necropolis story arc, which is going to be probably very fantastic. I've heard a lot of good things about that story arc. I personally haven't read it yet, but I'm going to get started on reading that. That way I can bring it out to you guys after we get done with this video, and also the third part of the Judge Death storyline read-through. And yeah, so more than anything, this is going to be a 4-part series. If you haven't already, go check out the first video, which talked about the introduction of the character Judge Death. And this storyline, Judge Death Lives, is the introduction to the other 3 Dark Judges, and then together they make the 4 Dark Judges. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into today's story. Let's go. So this story basically starts off with the judges basically doing like a tour with the community, basically the city people, and they're basically seeing Anderson's body, Judge Anderson's body, that's still in like a cryo sleep. And one of the people that's listening to the judge basically tell about Judge Death and how bad of a situation it would be if he were to escape from this prison that he's in cryo sleep within Judge Anderson's body. This guy basically sneaks in to where Judge Anderson is. He pretends to be leaving with the rest of the group that was on this tour, but he goes back in there and basically uses like some type of like laser device to try to melt the ice type substance that Anderson is basically in. And this actually works, and this frees Judge Death's spirit. So Judge Death's spirit basically goes with this guy, and they go back to like his apartment. And this guy basically kills the judge, or he basically attacks him with that laser beam that he was using, that laser device. And I don't know if he killed him or not, but he also does this to another guy after he gets kind of like possessed by Judge Death. And yeah, I guess it's showing that Judge Death is gonna have some type of an influence on him, at least until he gets to his apartment. So the judges find Judge Anderson basically has been sort of freed from her prison that she was put into at the end of the first video that I did for Judge Death and his first ever storyline. It ended with Judge Anderson basically taking Judge Death into her and basically keeping him in there in a cryo sleep with her. So now that she's free, or he's free, now she's free as well. So the judges basically relay the information to her, and they know that they have to stop Judge Death before he starts killing tons of people. Now we get to see that the guy basically that brought Judge Death to his apartment was told by the Dark Judges that they wouldn't kill his girlfriend, I guess, or wife. I think it was his girlfriend. And I don't know, it doesn't state, but it could be his wife, maybe it's his wife. But basically we're introduced to the other 3 Dark Judges, and they all have really cool designs. We learned that these judges are called Judge Fear, Judge Fire, and Judge Mortis, I believe. This is the one with like the deer head or something. And yeah, they have really good designs. So they basically killed this guy's wife or whatever. And it's revealed to us that the Dark Judges basically are here to help Judge Death bring justice to the Judge Dredd universe, basically, or dimension that they're in. So Judge Death basically escapes from this guy's body, and they use this guy's body to basically Judge Mortis basically like decays his body into like a dying state, like a decomposition state. He's decomposing basically the body so that Judge Death can take it over. And we get to see that the judges are trying to figure out where exactly Judge Death is at, and they kind of figure out that he's at this apartment, or at least that's what I assume is happening in these panels. Eventually we get to see that Judge Death does in fact get resurrected within the body of this guy, his decaying body. And I guess Judge Death, in order to be resurrected, needs to be in a decaying state. So I guess that's just how his powers work. He needs to be within that state to use his gift of touching someone and basically just killing them. Phasing through them and basically killing them by attacking their heart or like ripping their heart out or something like that. And yeah, so they come up with this idea, I guess some technology from their dimension that kind of like blots out all the judges from this area that they have went to, basically that they revived and resurrected Judge Death at. And judges cannot get through this barrier. And while this shield is up, we just see that this entire apartment complex, this whole block, I think, is blocked off. No pun intended, by Judge Death and the other four dark judges. And this sort of revealed to their different abilities, and they start just killing tons of these party goers at their party. And it's a really cool scene. We get to see that Judge Mortis uses his ability of decaying, as we saw Judge Death basically can phase through people's chest and kill them by attacking their heart, or just killing them by going through them and impaling them. Judge Fire uses his fire to basically burn people to ash, and Judge Fear, basically, if you see his face, you basically die. I'm guessing from a heart attack through fear or something like that. It's not really revealed to us what exactly happens, but they all have really cool abilities. And Judge Dredd basically figures that they have to find a way to get in there to basically save all these people, because these people cannot escape the barrier either, even though they're on the other side of this force field. They basically, if you touch it, you basically burst into flames. So it's a really cool scene, and we get a really cool panel splash page showing the four dark judges and basically what they can do to all these people, and just like burning them, killing them by decaying them, or just killing them through impalement or through fear. So, and giving them like a heart attack or something. So it's really cool. Eventually we get to see more of these situations of them using their abilities to kill a ton of people. We get some really interesting and funny situations, as well as like Judge Death basically surprising this guy in the shower, thinking that that's his wife, basically bothering him again, and then he kills the dude while he's taking a shower. I thought that was a really funny scene. Anderson basically comes with Judge Dredd to the scene. She meets him there, apparently. I guess she arrives, and they use her psychic abilities to basically get Judge Dredd through the barrier. And Judge Death notices that Anderson has breached the barrier, and that Judge Dredd and Anderson are coming after them and the four dark judges, basically. So we get to see that they breach the barrier, Judge Anderson and Judge Dredd, and they basically, Judge Death realizes that they need to hurry up and continue their judgment on the people, because they might actually be stopped by Judge Dredd and Anderson again. And we get some fight scenes between these characters, and we get to see Judge Dredd and Judge Anderson basically go up against Judge Fire, and Judge Fire is a very hard opponent to basically defeat. They tried using that bond thing they used against Judge Death within Judge Anderson's body to put them into like a cryo sleep and like some ice, but this didn't work on Judge Fire because of how hot his abilities are. But Judge Dredd uses some like debris, basically shoots the ceiling to get a ton of debris to fall on top of Judge Fire, and he can't lift this heavy wreckage basically off of him. All the debris basically is just too heavy for him to lift, so that's how they defeat him. They go, and while they're about to engage against Judge Fear, we get to see that the shield actually is in danger, and that Judge Fear is actually protecting it. So Judge Fear basically throws like a bear trap on Anderson. It's called a man trap, I think, in their dimension / universe. And Judge Dredd, basically, while Anderson is basically handicapped at the moment, gets grabbed by Judge Fear, and Judge Fear uses his ability to basically put fear into Judge Dredd. We get to see that it's stated on the panel that this would kill any ordinary man, but because the judges, I guess, are enhanced, I'm guessing they're not just normal humans, this could be the case, or it could be the case that Judge Dredd just has a huge amount of willpower, but he's not killed when he sees the face of Judge Fear, and he basically says to gaze to the fist of Dredd, and he punches through Judge Fear's face, basically defeating him, and they're able to take down the shield. And I think Judge Anderson uses her pistol or flamethrower type device gun to basically burn him to ash. So he goes back and reverts into his spirit form, just like Judge Death did in the first video slash first storyline for Judge Death. And yeah, with that, with the defeat of Judge Fear, basically the shield is taken down, and now all the other judges can come in and basically try to defeat the judges and save the civilians. So now that all the judges are basically on the attack, Judge Death and Mortis, they realize that they need to make an escape. And Judge Fear manages to get to where they're at and gets to Judge Death basically and grabs onto him as they teleport, as well as Judge Fire as well. Teleports, I guess they're all connected somehow, which is, I don't know why Judge Fear has to grab onto Judge Death. My guess is that he's in a spirit form and doesn't have a physical body. That's the reason why it had to be like that and had to grab onto a physical body. It's not really explained, but they teleport away and they go back to their dimension. Now Anderson and Dredd come up with the idea that there's always a chance they're going to come back, so they have to go to their dimension to basically go and destroy them. So they open up a portal and they basically go into Judge Death and the Dark Judge's dimension called Dead World. And this is where all life was decided to be illegal, declared to be illegal, and they basically killed off all of humanity in their dimension. So that's kind of crazy. And I believe it was stated that it wasn't only Major City 1 in their dimension. This is like the whole planet has died to these 4 individuals. So it's a really cool scene. We get to see that Anderson having a connection, and it was her power, I believe, that was able to open up the portal to basically get them to this dimension. So she's very important for Judge Dredd to be able to get back to his own dimension, or, their dimension. But while she's there, she's able to hear all the cries of the people that have died to the Dark Judges, so I thought that was cool. And eventually the Dark Judges arrive, and they basically are confronted, and they fight against Judge Dredd and Judge Anderson. Judge Dredd basically gets attacked by Judge Fire, and he takes like a pitchfork to the shoulder, and it's like on fire and stuff. You can imagine the pain he's probably going through. Judge Anderson basically is going to try shooting Judge Fire, and his fire is so hot that it melts the gun that she was using. Being outmatched, she grabs the ground and realizes all the people's belongings that have been killed by the Dark Judges. And this is where she creates a psionic link to these individuals that have died, and they basically use all their strength, and it's like a spiritual attack, I guess, through Judge Anderson, and they basically defeat the Dark Judges by focusing in all that psionic energy, basically just, I guess, turning them into dust, like blasting them away. It's implied they basically just cannot take the psionic energy that is being put out by all these people that have died. It's a very weird scene, but they do crumble into dust, and that's the end. They basically crumble. Now, Judge Anderson and Judge Dredd basically realize that they have finally defeated the Dark Judges, or so it seems, and that's basically it, with them basically making a offhand joke about taking a vacation that Anderson has stated earlier in the story, with Judge Dredd basically saying that after this I may just join you, Anderson, and that's how the story ends. And yeah, that was Judge Dredd, the storyline Judge Death Lives. This was the introduction of the 4 Dark Judges. I really enjoy these villains. I thought that Judge Death was a very good villain on his own, but when he's paired with Judge Fire, Judge Fear, and Judge Mortis, they make a really cool set of villains for Judge Dredd, Judge Anderson to go up against. And overall, I enjoyed this one. It might be my favorite story arc, or storyline for these characters so far, because I haven't read Necropolis yet. But once I do read that, I'm going to be bringing it on the channel, and we'll talk about how they do in that story. I believe all four of them are in that story. So we'll talk about that when we read it, and I cover it on the channel. But overall, Judge Death Lives was a very solid story. I do recommend you go check it out. Link in the description down below. Check it out legally. And yeah, be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. We're going to be covering the next story arc that covers these characters. That will be part 3 of my Judge Death storyline review series, or a series of videos. And after that, we'll be covering Necropolis, so it's going to be really interesting on the channel, and we're going to have a lot of fun continuing some of these Judge Dredd stories. And maybe after we finish the Judge Death stuff, I can jump back into Judge Dredd's original stories where you first started, and we'll just cover random stories here and there, because the character is very interesting. Judge Anderson's very interesting, and I know she has her own solo series as well, and maybe we'll just cover more Judge Dredd in the future. So if you're a fan of this, or you're a fan of my other videos and you just enjoyed checking this out and seeing new recommendations of stories you might like, definitely recommend go check out Judge Dredd's Judge Death's storylines. They're so fun and very well written, and I definitely recommend you go out and read these stories. But go check out part 1, then watch this video if you haven't already, and part 3 will come out probably in the next few days. But until next video, and part 4 will be Necropolis. And like I said, that story is very highly praised, and it is considered a must-read in the Judge Dredd storylines, at least by what I've read from reviews and that. I've heard that you should go check out Necropolis if you're a fan of Judge Death and the Dark Judges. So we are going to be covering that, and if you're a fan of Judge Dredd, they say as a series, basically you should go check it out as a comic book. But until next video, guys, God bless you. Until next lesson, keep on reading those comments.